Welcome to Belly Dance Alchemy, a captivating blend of the best elements of career and professional development and the magic of belly dance. I'm your host, Kelly Nottingham. Ready to make your day job sparkle and your dance life grow in new and inspiring ways? Well, let's see what we can brew up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first in what may turn into a series over the course of this podcast, at least until there aren't any more toxic people in the world. Today we're discussing how to deal with one particular type of toxic person, the narcissist. This topic is a special request from more than one listener. Sounds like we have some folks with some challenging people in their lives. If you have a request for me, please send me a message either through email or on social media. I would be happy to hear your suggestions for topics. Before we get into the topic itself, I am not a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist. I'm here to talk about some research on narcissism by licensed psychologists and to share some of my own personal experiences. So exciting in dealing with this type of personality. So buckle in. This one is going to be a bumpy ride. We're going to start off by painting a picture of what narcissistic behaviors can look like. Why? Because narcissists like hearing people talk about them. Just kidding, but not really. They love it. But that's not why we're talking about them today. My goal with this episode is to help you identify if you have someone who exhibits narcissistic behaviors in your life, to understand how their behaviors could impact you and other people around you, and what you can do about it. If, as we go along, you recognize that these behaviors sound really familiar and they're impacting your career or life, please seek assistance from a counselor or therapist. They can really help you to protect yourself both emotionally and in your life and career, and design a plan for moving forward. All right, let's start with painting a picture of narcissism. Imagine the scene. You're on a close-knit team at work. Your team works really well together. There are few disagreements that come up, and when they do, the whole team is able to come together and work through them with little to no issue. When new people have been added to the team, they're welcomed in and integrate pretty quickly into the team dynamic. People's differences are appreciated, and everyone's contributions build up the team. A new person is hired into the team. Let's call her Carol. Carol is confident, friendly, outgoing, and immediately feels like part of the team. She's quick to share about herself, her life, and she jumps in immediately to volunteer for tasks that others on the team aren't as excited about doing. Everything is running along smoothly for about a month. Carol is right in the middle of everything happening with the team. She's become an integral part of the group. Now, Carol is a social butterfly, a charmer, and regularly invites the team to go out to lunch at least once a week. Not everyone can go every time, but it's a nice gesture. But you realize something else on Carol's birthday. She's having a big dinner to celebrate at her favorite restaurant, and the only people who show up are your team. Now that's a little odd considering she's so outgoing and popular, but maybe there's a perfectly good reason she doesn't have anyone else there. A few weeks later, she makes a mistake on a project that you're leading. You ask her about the mistake, and she says it wasn't her fault. The information she was given by Daniel wasn't correct. You ask that she please verify the information next time before moving ahead, and she states that it's not her responsibility to check up on Daniel's work. It's your responsibility. She's then asked to present about a proposal to your team and your leaders, and she's unprepared for the presentation. When asked questions about the topic, she says she never got enough detail from you to be able to do the proposal correctly. She did what she was asked, she says, and if there are any problems, they should be directed to you. Over the course of the next few months, you notice that the group of people that Carol invites out to lunch is getting smaller and more exclusive. She now only invites the same 3 to 4 people out to lunch, and they sneak out so nobody else realizes that they're going. They sit together in meetings, and you've started noticing that the others in her small group have started distancing themselves from the rest of the team. They forget to come to birthday lunches and have stopped volunteering for help with additional team tasks. There's a definite undercurrent of a subtle hostility going on now. You attend a meeting with another team and are told by a trusted colleague that Carol has been talking negatively about you behind your back, accusing you of bullying her about her work, and proving this by telling people that you berated her in front of the leadership team when she presented her amazing proposal. You know this isn't what happened, but the more you think about it, the more you wonder if, well, maybe you didn't handle it as well as you could have. A few weeks later, another trusted colleague asks about the situation with Carol. What did you do that was so bad that she's thinking of reporting you to HR for harassment? You're shocked, especially when you realize that Carol has been discussing her take on that situation with anyone who will listen. A few weeks after this, you find out that Carol is actively working to get moved to another department. She gets the role and proceeds to get her few friends left on your team to move with her to this new department, and several of them do. Your team is left depleted, several people down, and the happy team dynamic has been totally shattered. As your team starts the process of hiring new people, you're worried that you'll inadvertently hire another Carol. Does any of this sound familiar to you? If so, you may have been attacked by a narcissist. So what is narcissism? The term narcissism originates in Greek mythology, where a beautiful young man named Narcissus rejected the affection of a nymph named Echo and was punished by Nemesis, the goddess of retribution, to fall in love with his own image reflected in a pool of water. When he realized that it was his own reflection and not an actual person, he supposedly killed himself out of despair that his love would never be fulfilled. Now, other versions of the story say he refused to leave his reflection for the rest of his life and was eventually turned into the Narcissus flower. Dramatic. Love those Greek myths. Now, psychology today defines narcissism as, quote, characterized by a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, a need for excessive admiration, and the belief that one is unique and deserving of special treatment. End quote. Many psychologists see narcissism on a spectrum, from healthy narcissism, as in valuing yourself enough to take care of yourself in a healthy way, all the way to very self-serving manipulative behavior that's focused on vanity and a hunger for attention or appreciation that can cause serious relationship issues. A narcissist is the central focus of their own lives, and they expect the world and everyone on it to orbit around them. Now, to get more specific, some researchers make a distinction between two types of narcissists: vulnerable and grandiose. A vulnerable narcissist has an outer shield of self-centeredness and self-absorption that covers a weak sense of self-esteem and self-worth on the inside, while a grandiose narcissist actually believes they're as awesome as they think they are, whether reality backs that up or not. In this episode, we're going to focus on this grandiose narcissism type. Now, both of these types, but especially the grandiose type, may share the traits of the dark triad. What is the dark triad, other than an awesome band name? Number 1, the tendency to seek admiration and special treatment. That is narcissism. Number 2, the tendency to be callous and insensitive. That is psychopathy. And number 3, the tendency to manipulate others. That's Machiavellianism. People whose behavior is high in all 3 of these traits is going to be really tough to deal with, and they will happily take you down if it suits their needs. So let's dig in a bit more to what narcissism, and especially those 3 dark triad behaviors, look like in action. So how do they pull us in? How do we fall into a narcissist trap? Narcissists often seem charming, friendly, and confident when we first meet them. They can be beguiling and charismatic. In fact, one study quoted by Psychology Today showed that people only saw through a narcissist's likable veneer after 7 meetings. It takes time to see through them. Now, from my own experiences with narcissistic types, they tend to attach to a new group of people very quickly. It may seem, like our example, Carol, that they don't have any friends or colleagues outside of the new group they've latched onto, likely because they've burned through their relationships so quickly in the past. They shower these new people with compliments and praise in order to win their affection in a practice called love bombing. They ingratiate themselves very quickly to the whole group of new people and then will decide later on who to keep around based on how well a person serves the narcissist's needs. Once you're in their orbit, how do they behave? How do they burn through their relationships so fast? Well, we saw many of these in our story earlier. Projecting their hurts onto others. Projection is an unconscious process where the narcissist externalizes anything negative about themselves so they don't have to come to terms with it. So you become the one who is selfish or indecisive or worthless, not them. Turning every conversation to themselves and their own experiences. Constantly putting themselves in the role of the real victim. Blaming others for their own mistakes. Acting like the world and other people constantly owe them something. Guilting others for not fixing their unhappiness or hurt feelings. Seeing anyone who doesn't actively seek to please them or make them feel special as an enemy. Acting like they're infallible and never make mistakes. Treating any criticism or even helpful feedback as a personal attack. Acting as if they're more talented, smarter, better looking, or uniquely special than others. Entitled to special treatment because they're better than other people, but they won't see it as special treatment. It's just the way they should be treated, obviously. Denial. They'll twist facts, distort, rationalize, and delude themselves to avoid anything that may cause them to feel less than special. Gaslighting. This is a big one. Making the people around them question their own memories or beliefs about a situation. Turning others against their enemy through gossip, cliques, lying, and gaslighting. Therapists refer to this group of supporters that gather around and build up the narcissist as flying monkeys. Discrediting you by running smear campaigns, by saying things to other people like, well, I hate to have to say this, but I really feel like you need to know something about this person. Their flying monkeys then also spread that message. Seeking constant reassurance from the people around them, but no matter how much you give, it's never enough. Saying that they don't like drama, but mysteriously, drama swirls around them constantly. But it's not their fault, of course, it's everyone else's fault. The sad thing is, narcissists are so much more concerned with their own needs than the needs of anyone else that they won't hesitate to throw someone under the bus if they feel threatened in any way. And because they're charismatic and highly skilled manipulators, they can persuade others to their point of view easily. Many people don't realize anything is wrong until the narcissist lashes out at them, and the injury that caused the narcissist to lash out could be something so minimal it would never occur to someone that it would cause so much strife. But reputations are ruined, friendships are destroyed, and the narcissist just moves on to the next group of people. All of that wasn't their fault. They were the ones that were treated badly. So how does narcissism affect the other people in this equation? Narcissism can leave so much damage behind and can cause a lot of emotional strain for people dealing with this type of personality. Here's some ways to recognize if you may have a narcissist in your midst. At first, The narcissist is super friendly, loving, open, and wants to be closely involved with you and the group right away. They'll shower you with compliments and attention with that love bombing. You'll be invited to go out with a person or to spend extra time with them. But then you may notice things start to shift. You don't remember a situation the same way the narcissist does. You feel uncomfortable when the narcissist talks negatively about people you both know. You realize that you always feel emotionally drained after spending time with the narcissist. Your conversations are always about them and never about you. You notice the larger group you're part of starts to split apart. If you're the victim of a narcissist, things can get much more serious. You may be confused by what's happening around you. You may feel blindsided by someone you trusted. You may find yourself avoiding the narcissist and the flying monkeys in the narcissist's close orbit without realizing exactly why. You may second guess yourself frequently. This is especially true with gaslighting situations. You may find yourself apologizing to the person more than normal. You may avoid giving any negative or constructive feedback to the person because they will not accept it. You discover that they've been gossiping about you, but you don't know why. You see emails or social media posts with misleading information about a situation you were in, placing you as the evil person and them as the innocent victim. You aren't selected to participate in projects or initiatives where the narcissist was already involved. You may be accused by the narcissist of abuse or threatening behavior. You may lose friendships or working relationships to the narcissist, especially if these people turn into the narcissist's flying monkeys. You may also lose friendships or working relationships because other people are trying to avoid the narcissist too, and they don't know how else to steer clear. Ugh, this is rough. So let's talk about some ways to deal effectively with narcissists. We're first going to look at ways to deal with a narcissist if you're currently in the middle of a mess with one, and then we'll discuss some ways to repel narcissists going forward, hopefully by noticing the red flags fast enough you can avoid more heartburn and pain in the future. So the first point in this section is massively important, so I'm going to say this loud and clear. You cannot fix a narcissist. You can't make them care about you or anyone else. If they want to play the victim to get attention, you can't change that. Trying to appeal to their sense of fairness or empathy isn't going to work. So if that imaginary scene has been floating around in your head that you'd be able to get them to see the error of their arrogant ways, let that go. It's not going to happen. Even if you straight up tell them that they're a narcissist, you can't call them out on it and get the result you want. They don't take feedback, remember? They're likely to turn it back on you and tell you that you're actually the narcissist, and then you are in their crosshairs. Narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, is a clinically recognized mental disorder. Not everyone who exhibits narcissistic behaviors has clinical NPD, but even if they're not that far down on the scale, there is no way for you to fix this for them. So what can you do? You can minimize the repercussions of their behavior for yourself. Basically, what I'm saying here is that you have two options. Either learn to live with it, but take steps to protect yourself, or cut ties with them completely. If your narcissist is someone you can't get rid of very easily, like a family member, you may have to learn to minimize contact and take steps to not be an easy victim for them. If you work with or for a narcissist, then you may need to make some serious choices about your work, because sadly, their drive for power and attention may actually help them get promoted more easily than other people. But once in a leadership role, they tend to focus on self-promotion and building their admirer base and squashing any potential opposition more than actually leading. Let's talk about some ways to discover if a person is a narcissist and how to protect yourself from their attentions. First, be a little suspicious if someone is trying to quickly ingratiate themselves into your group, whether a work group or a social group. I'm not saying be totally suspicious forever, but at least for a little while, hold them at a little bit of a distance, especially if they're very charming and very charismatic. Talk about yourself in a conversation with them, but don't share anything too personal. And see if the narcissist continually flips the conversation to focus on themselves. Don't overshare private things with a potential narcissist because they could use that information against you later on. They will likely reach out quickly on social media to connect with you right away. And it's been my personal experience that narcissists really get into social media because they can, one, learn personal stuff about other people that they can weaponize later if needed, and two, they can paint themselves as amazing to that sort of shallow social circle without having to really commit emotionally to a friendship, but they still get attention. Now, pay attention to how they talk about previous employers, coworkers, friends, or family members. If they're always the victim in those situations, or there was drama that they refused to take any responsibility for repeatedly, they might have some narcissistic traits. Narcissists are more attracted to people who give them admiration than to people who truly care about them. So don't compliment them too often or too soon. You can also try complimenting someone else's skill or traits to the potential narcissist, maybe about a skill or trait that that person values in themselves. So for example, if the narcissist thinks that they're an amazing writer, talk about how great another person is at writing. If they then try to interject their own level of skill back into the conversation, you might be dealing with a narcissist. Be dismissive if they do this. Don't give them the admiration that they're seeking. If they perceive that they're not going to get the attention and affirmation from you that supports their ego, then they're going to go and take that attention-seeking behavior somewhere else. Now, this brings us to another really important point. If you are a very empathetic, kind soul, a supportive and loving and open person, you need to especially be on your guard because narcissists can sniff you out like my dog can smell a steak. They will find you and they will devour you. They will take all of your energy and it will never be enough. They may even try to turn you into one of their flying monkeys. So be careful. And as weird as it may feel, hold a little caution in yourself for people who would win you over right away. If they're good people, they won't hold it against you. I have known narcissists who actually try to paint themselves as empathetic, kind, supportive, and loving people, only so they can get the approval of others. If you've been the victim of a smear campaign by a narcissist, I am so sorry. That's a really tough situation to deal with, and it's not fair. Please know that if this is you, calling out the narcissist is not going to help. They will use your anger and hurt to prove that you're unstable and untrustworthy. Stay within your own integrity. Don't let them provoke you into a negative response. That's what they're trying to do, so they can use that response to prove their point. Continue to keep your own reputation built within your community. Don't hide and don't go quiet. Let your reputation speak for itself. Disengage from the narcissist and the flying monkeys that they've gathered around them. Block them on social media. Not only does social media keep you and your life in their orbit, it's giving them attention that they want. And your posts and responses just give the narcissist more fodder for future smear campaigns. Work to rebuild any damaged relationships with people who were affected by the smear campaign. Instead of trying to paint the narcissist as the bad person and telling everybody about them, keep yourself as neutral and non-accusatory as you possibly can. You could say something like, "I'm sorry you were subjected to hearing those things. You know that's not who I am. I'll be talking to the person who said these things about me." And leave it at that. Continue to live your life being yourself. The people who were easily influenced away from you may not have been the strongest people to have a relationship with in the first place. The people who are important to you and who truly care about you will hopefully, with time and patience, come back to you. And I can't stress this enough. If you need support through these situations, please find professional help. Dealing with a narcissist can make you feel like your world is falling apart and that you can't trust yourself. It's called crazy making for a reason. There's nothing wrong with you. So get some support to help you maneuver your way out of that crazy making world. Okay, let's take this one for a final spin. One of the most effective ways to learn how to deal successfully with a narcissist is to look back over your own life experiences with someone who maybe showed some of these traits. How did you handle that situation? Did you believe them? And how easily did you believe them? How did they influence or charm you? How did the relationship progress? What happened to cause you to question that person's motives? At what point did you realize that they might have been a narcissist? And what would you do next time a narcissist comes around? Would you behave in the same way, or would you want to try something different? All right, this has been a bit of a heavy episode, but I really hope it's been a useful one. There is so much information out there on dealing with narcissists. I encourage you to go out and start exploring work by psychologists and psychiatrists on this topic. And if you've had dealings with a narcissist and maybe have any helpful suggestions you'd like to share with the rest of our listeners, please email me and let me know. If you found this information useful, please share this episode with your friends. Thank you, everyone, and good luck to those of you who may be dealing with someone with some narcissistic tendencies. Talk to you soon. If the pandemic lockdown has made you aware of some major changes you want to make in your career or dance life, I can help. Maybe you realize you hate your current job, or that you're holding yourself back from making a big life change that deep down you really want. Now is the time to start building momentum for the future. I've spent my career in professional development and training at Fortune 100 companies, leading training initiatives and coaching people from frontline employees to executive-level leaders to improve their relationship to their work, their colleagues, and themselves. If you think some non-judgmental support and gentle nudging would help you to get going, give me a call to discuss one-on-one coaching and consulting. If your organization or company is ready for an injection of new ideas, energy, and practical tools to improve company culture and efficiency, let's chat. I have off-the-shelf workshops ready to bring to your organization on topics like effective communication, change management, presentation skills, and a suite of leadership development workshops, just to name a few. Custom workshops are also an option. For a 30-minute complimentary consultation, email me at bellydancealchemypodcast@gmail.com, go to bellydancealchemy.org, or reach out to me on LinkedIn or via the links in the podcast notes so we can see if I'm a good fit for your needs. Well, thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to this podcast and share the magic with your dance friends. If you want more, you can sign up for our mailing list at bellydancealchemy.org, or you can email me your suggestions and feedback. I would love to hear from you at bellydancealchemypodcast@gmail.com. Bye.